Hey man, say man, it's your boy Big Dreams. Welcome back to the channel. Before we carry on, when it's further with this video, make sure y'all like, make sure y'all comment. Most importantly, make sure y'all subscribe and hit that post notification bell. Set it to all. We is back with another banger video, back with another reaction video, man. And today, y'all see the screen, we are going to be reacting to Judge Mathis names crime Diddy should be found guilty of, why he thinks judge will give max. Vladtv, Djvlad. We finna dig in here and see what's going on. I'm not gonna make the opening of this video too long. All I ask is that y'all smash that like button so this video can rank higher in the algorithm. Go crazy in the comments. Let me know what you want me to react to. And if you're watching me and you're not subscribed, man, subscribe. That's all I ask. We finna go ahead and dig in, man. Make sure the volume all the way up.
Okay. So based on what you know about the Diddy case right now, with all the evidence, and obviously there's no evidence from the defense, they're resting their case. What do you think will happen to the jury?
Well, since there's no state crime being involved, which is where all the criminal activity, the assaults on women, the arson, all that occurred, that's state. And this federal crime, this Rico crime, I believe that thus far all they've proven, and they've rested their case. I think they only proved the Mann Act, and that is flying interstate transportation for prostitutes. Perhaps drug use, drug possession, based on all the witnesses that have said they brought drugs from across state lines. If the deliverer of the drugs, in which I think there's an admission that the drugs were brought from cross state lines, then it becomes federal. And in that case, possession, in my opinion, not distribution.
Well, I don't think that's actually a charge. The charges are the Rico, and then sex trafficking and prostitution.
Well, there you have it. All I hear then is prostitution, interstate.
If I'm being honest, bro, if I'm being honest, I honestly feel like Diddy is either gonna walk or he's either gonna serve a very short time behind bars. He's either gonna walk scot-free or he's gonna be behind bars for a short time. That's honestly what I feel. The charges that they have against him is stuff that can only nail him and not other people. If other charges were brought into the play, they can nail him even more, and you can nail other people too. But keep this in mind. A lot of stuff was mentioned in trial, but they called it objection because they did not want it to make it to documentation. They did not want that to continue on in trial. I feel like reason being on that is because they are trying to save face of other people who are important and who need to maintain a certain image that don't need to be destroyed by what P. Diddy Combs got going on here. That's what I honestly feel. He's either gonna walk or he's gonna serve a very short time behind bars. News was already dropped like a day or two ago that some of his charges was dropped. Not all of them, some of them. And if I'm being honest, I'm surprised that they ain't trying to hit him with extortion or anything like that, because by the looks of it, he done been extorting a whole lot of people here over the years. The whole situation with Kid Cudi and all of that, I'm surprised all of that ain't being bought in. They ain't nailing him for everything. They nailing him for some of everything, which is why I say he's either going to walk or he's either going to serve a very short sentence behind bars.
Prostitutes.
Right. But at the end of the day, and I've interviewed one of the male escorts, Punisher, and, well, number one, he was not trafficked. You know, he was just paid. He was already living in New York. He would go about a dozen times, meet with them and have their freak-offs and so forth. I asked him, do you feel like you were trafficked? He said, absolutely not.
Well, see, there's different things. You got trafficking, and then you got interstate transfer of prostitutes.
Right.
And so trafficking, yes, he wasn't, but he was a prostitute that crossed state lines and received monies. And that's what I think he will be found guilty of. That's perhaps the only federal crime I think he should be found guilty of, but it's because it certainly doesn't amount to Rico. the things that they've attempted to prove, they did not prove enough to connect it to a Rico case, a continuing criminal enterprise.
I totally agree on that. I think the Rico is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, Bad Boy is not a mafia organization.
Correct.
That's just...
And that's another thing, too. They hitting him with a Rico like he was out here doing some murder for hire junk. It ain't none of that. He was simply just freak off. That's simply what it was, freak off. You act like he out here being a doggone mafia boss, sitting up behind his desk smoking a cigar, paying his doggone hitman to go out here and perform hits. That's what they acting like this was like, dude. Literally just had freak offs, baby oil mixed with some junk, a whole lot of insulin to rejuvenate people's bodies after 5-day long freak offs and all that stuff like that. The Rico, nah, I could understand if he was on some Big U type of stuff, but that Rico, nah. But that trafficking and that prostitution and all that stuff, I could see that sticking. But it's a whole lot more stuff that they could have hit this man with that can probably put him behind bars for a very long time. But they didn't hit him with it. So if they do sentence him, he's not going to get a very long sentence because a lot of charges did not make it to the freaking trial.
Trying to present to the world that it's a real company, but really they're like...
It's almost like they don't even want him to necessarily suffer behind bars. They want him to suffer in the eyes of the public. If he get out, they want it to be like more than likely ain't nobody going to want to work with you because they don't want to be seen with you with the rep that you got to your name. That's really what it's like for real, for real. They just want him to look bad. They want that public perception of Diddy to fade all the way away. They want you to suffer in them pockets. That's where they want you to suffer at. They don't necessarily want to have you behind bars for the rest of the time. No, they just want you to suffer for what, well, I don't know what he did to whoever, but whatever you did to somebody, they want you to suffer for it the long way. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it seemed like, bro, because there's so much other stuff that this man could be hit with. So many other charges, bro. So many other situations from long ago, since they digging back to 2000, 2001, with all these SA charges and stuff like that. They can go back to the biggest situation. They can go back and investigate the whole Kid Cudi thing. They can go back and investigate this and that, this, that, and the third. But they not doing that, bro. It's so much other stuff that could be bought into play that's not going to be bought in play, bro. That's exactly why I see it. He either walking or he's going to be behind bars for a short period of time. They might give him 4 or 5 years. If he get maxed, hey, it is what it is. I'm not surprised. If he walks, it is what it is. I'm not surprised because this case has seemed very unstable. Like this whole trial has seemed very unstable since it started. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. Because what are y'all actually talking about besides the whole Cassie thing and him doing all these sexual acts to women and the beatings and all that stuff like that? The sex workers, it's like that's their main focus. It seems like that's the main focus. When it's other stuff that happened in a certain period of time that you can bring to the trial, but you're not bringing it to the trial. So at this point, whatever direction this thing go in, it really won't come to me as a surprise. It just, it is what it is at this point. Because it just seemed like they ain't trying to hit him on nothing for real, for real. They just hitting him on stuff that they can only nail him for and keep everybody else out of it.
Trafficking drugs. It's a real company.
That's exactly what they're trying to suggest.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
I think they're going back to the kids down in Atlanta. That, by the way, they were exonerated, I believe, one or two of them.
YSL case.
Yeah, YSL case where, their company was actively, allegedly...
BMF was a drug business.
Yeah,
we all know
right.
this. It is what it is. There's a TV show about it.
Right.
It is what it is. Yeah,
yeah.
but Bad Boy, Ciroc, Sean John, these are actual real companies.
Absolutely.
And it just so happened that the owner of the company
is a freak.
Was a
and
freak.
a dope fiend.
And, was
right.
Was having his assistants.
They act like he's sitting up there doggone.
But listen, I got a bunch of employees.
Right.
Ain't nothing came out saying that, you know what I'm saying, behind closed doors, that was organized crime. There's nothing that came out that said that. That was a legit label. These were legit businesses that, just like Judge Mathis said, just so happened to be ran by a man who likes to engage in big sex parties. That's all it is.
My assistant to go book a hotel room for me, and I engaged.
But all that other stuff he built from the ground
up. He can't
up.
be charged for it, and he can't. I can't say that he was part of this conspiracy. He just booked a hotel room.
Listen to you, little bootleg lawyer.
That's right, bootleg lawyer.
He called him a bootleg lawyer.
The charges are
that's crazy.
racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and then transportation to engage in prostitution. What exactly is the difference between the sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion and transportation to engage in prostitution? Seems like it's almost the same thing.
Not really, because sex trafficking is essentially, that's the coercion, where you're coercing a woman to go across state lines to have sex with someone. Is similar to pimping.
In this case, it's not a woman, it's men.
Okay, it's similar to...
It's the men. It's the men.
But it's similar. Trafficking is like pimping.
Right, but do you think that...
This isn't trafficking.
Right, see, that's what I'm saying. So sex trafficking, none of the men are going to say that they were forced to engage in this horrible act of having sex with Cassie.
No.
Oh my God, I have nightmares over this. It was so bad. Boo-hoo.
I'll take 1 year for that.
That's right.
I'm just kidding.
We all done it for free, all right, including the escorts. It is what it is. Okay, so that was getting thrown out the window, you think?
Yes.
So all you have left is transportation to engage in prostitution.
That's all I think they have.
Yeah.
That sounds like a slap on the wrist.
Well, it won't be, because unfortunately, judges are people too, and he's going to try and compensate for the other things that they've seen, for the state crimes that he's seen. His mindset is going to be, I'm not letting him get away with the minimum. I'm giving him the maximum that'll compensate for the things I can't do. The things that he didn't.
I see what he's saying.
Things that the prosecutor didn't prove, but I think happened. The things that happened in state court, but the statute of limitations expired, so I can't prosecute him. So, he says 1 to 10 years. I think I'm gonna give him 10.
Woo!
I hope not. For that small of for that violation. I'm not suggesting that they should overcompensate for the state crime that they failed to prosecute because of the statute of limitation. I think they should be judged based on what he did then. And that is the interstate transportation of prostitutes, the violation of the Mann Act.
Right. So he flew in a couple of male escorts to have sex with a woman. He paid them. They were happy. They went home.
Right.
Yeah,
and trafficking
it ain't like
is
he forced them to do it,
It's the cat who's flying in a woman and by coercion or force, and then having her to prostitute for him for the most part. That's what trafficking, the essence of it is.
This is not that.
No, he's never been a pimp.
It's not.
No, he wasn't no good pimp.
Yeah.
Judge Mathis said he wasn't no good pimp. But man, listen, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I know I already pretty much said what I feel, bro. It really only seems like they only touched on the freak-offs this whole time and all this other stuff. Don't nothing else matter. It just seemed like it's the freak-offs. They tried to hit them with trafficking, but it wasn't that. It's just a whole lot of people that agreed to come together and have freak-offs, To me, if you ask me, when that tape of him and Cassie in the hallway of the hotel dropped, that's when all this other stuff started coming out. Because as from what I'm seeing here, like the male sex workers, they ain't saying that he forced them. They just like, man, I felt uncomfortable. He was sitting there watching me. Like, that's what the Punisher said. But as far as that, this thing here, this whole trial just seemed unstable, because it's like they trying to hit him with certain stuff, and once you dig into it and dissect it, you can't really hit him with it because it ain't that. But you can hit him with this, but that don't, you know what I'm saying, hold the weight of a real heavy sentence, you know. But we honestly gonna see what happens. That's at this point, I don't know what to think with this trial no more. But listen, this is the end of the video. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all comment. Most importantly, make sure y'all subscribe and hit that post notification bell. Set it to all. Our social media links will be in the description. The link to the previous reaction video will be there as well. Follow me on all my social medias. Click the link to the previous reaction video and watch that whole video after you watch this whole video. Also, don't forget the link to the second channel will be in the description as well. Make sure y'all go click that link, subscribe, show love over there because y'all will be seeing my face over there from time to time. But listen, I love y'all and I appreciate y'all for showing me love back. And we out this thing, man, for real.